Paris, 1789. The people cried out for a meal. Then on the 14th of July, someone mentioned a pastille. Everybody stormed it. And though it wasn't a meal as such, and when it had been cut into slices, nobody got very much. They'd have killed for a lobster thermostat, which are never too cold or too hot, and resolved that someone must die upon the guillemot. They began to behead the nobility. The mob didn't do things by halves, and at each beheading, old women sat round mistakenly knitting them scarves. Beheading's a bit of a mixed blessing. You'll find if your head has gone, it's good if you had a headache. But it's a sod when your scarf won't stay on. There's also the problem of deafness. Made worse, now you can't say, "What?" And on balance, it was not a good thing to die upon the guillemot. Death by the sharpened bird. The calls for it were long and loud. Someone sang the mayonnaise and soufflés broke out in the crowd. They turned upon the nobles. The guillemot fell with a swish, and their heads were displayed upon pikes. An odd thing to do with a fish. And next they chose as their victim the unhappiest man of the lot, the man later known as Les Miserables. To die upon the guillemot. He'd gone out to buy a hat. He'd just paid 20 francs. If he'd lost his head beforehand, he could have said no thanks. He didn't even thank him for the fact they'd cured his cough. He just lay there looking sad and his scarf kept falling off. And then they went to find the king and Marie Antoinette. For both of them must die upon the guillemot. They didn't like the queen and with good reason cursed her. They marched off to the palace. This is the Versailles versa. The crowd was growing ugly despite appeals for calm. Quasimodo had arrived in the hatchback of Notre Dame. It was a Hugo. Dearie me, 3 bad jokes on the trot. Whoever writes this ought to die upon the guillemot. There's a bit too much enthusiasm in that for my liking. The nobles learned a lesson, never risked the people's wrath, and never hogged the bathroom when Charlotte wants a bath. And then a close friend and advisor of Napoleon Bonaparte. When they executed Sooty, it almost broke his heart. A string of wrong decisions put Napoleon on the spot, so Sooty had to die upon the guillemot. Napoleon kept him in his jacket in case people thought him nutty. Think we should invade Russia? Good idea, Sooty. And as he sat on his chicken Marengo, riding the Belgian lanes, "You want to go to Waterloo? You want to watch the trains?" It was a bit like cutting off his own hand. It was like that quite a lot when Sooty had to die upon the guillemot.